to our next story. So this is all about PK and Dorit. Is their marriage doomed? Like, I have a question. Whose marriage is it more cringy to watch right now on this season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Is PK and Dorit the cringiest couple to watch, or Kyle and Mauricio the cringiest couple to watch? Because they both are very cringy at this moment. So let's see what it has to say. Oh no. The article I want to read is not coming up. Well, this is according to 2Fab. It says the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star 56-year-old husband says she's gotten, quote, more high maintenance over the years. Since her home invasion in 2021, her alleged home invasion, Dorit Kemsley has been open about the PTSD she has been continuing to suffer from. The long-standing effects of her horrific trauma have also been the root of some of her marital issues with husband Paul PK Kemsley. On Wednesday's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the couple spoke to a counselor where Dorit revealed how she felt PK was not present during the aftermath nor understood the severity of her PTSD. Quote, my biggest issue was that after the home invasion, I really needed PK around, and he was traveling all the time. He wasn't here for me, not physically and not emotionally, really. The passes, the patience, they're all now used up. It's time for him to show up. This is what I think really what happened between PK and Dorit. I think Dorit has gotten older. She has some kids. And I think that Dorit is kind of tired of the grift. What I mean by that is there's all the allegations of how PK is a gambler. He owed millions upon millions of dollars to all of these, Las Vegas casinos. There's the allegations of his fraud and bankruptcy with the Barclays Bank back in London and, double crossing investors for both his businesses and her businesses. And there's all this stuff floating around that they're basically grifters and fraudsters and they're broke and all of this stuff. In my opinion, again, alleged, do I think their home robbery was legit? I don't. I think they did it as an insurance scam to get the insurance money to clear PK's gambling debts that were not cleared by his bankruptcy. And I think that Dorit is pissed because she is like, I, went along with this home invasion scheme. Because don't forget, their home, I don't know if it's that particular home, but they've had a couple of home invasions. This isn't the first time their home was invaded. They've had a couple of break-ins. They also had another home insurance claim where she said that she left the water running and went to run errands and came home and the home was flooded. So that was another insurance claim for a lot of money. She also said she took out $10,000 to shop for, quote, Christmas presents, and she put the $10,000 in cash in her purse. She left it in her shopping cart. I don't know where Dorit is shopping where they have shopping carts. I don't know. Where was she with the shopping cart? I'm confused. Was she at Target? I mean, what? Because where Dorit claims to shop, they don't have carts. You have an associate that comes with you. You pick out what you want, and they have your dressing room ready for you. That's the experience you usually have on a Rodeo Drive. You don't have shopping carts. So I don't know what she's talking about. Again, I think this was a scheme and a scam. So they've had multiple, quote, issues with insurance scams and frauds and getting the money to clear their debt. And I think Dorit is in a place where she feels like, I've done all of this for you to hold you down. I've been this grifter for you. And you're still out here scheming and scamming and not being present. You're in London. You're doing this. You're all over the place. I need you to step up, or I want to trade you in for a younger, hotter, richer model. I think Dorit is on her, I look better now. I have fame now. I want to trade PK in. That's what I think the core issue is. I think Dorit is tired of scheming and scamming, and she wants to find a guy who really has some money. I don't think it has anything to do with this whole quote PTSD stuff. That's why he's like, I think your PTSD is obnoxious because at the end of the day, he knows she doesn't have PTSD because they planned the whole thing. I also think she's having some regret because, like her or not, I do think Dorit is a good mother and I do think she really loves her children. So I do think there's a part of her that is resentful towards him, that one day she's going to have to talk to her children about this alleged robbery who were present at the time this happened. So I do think she resents him for putting her and the children in that situation. And I do think she has guilt about putting her children in that situation. That's why I think she's having this whole conversation about I don't want them to go to, school. I don't want them to go to public school. I want them homeschooled. There might be some psychological mother's guilt of the fact that she put her children in harm's way by going along with this bogus home invasion. Because I don't know what our alleged armed robbers comes into your house. You think that they're going to, you know, hurt you, fatally hurt you while your children are sleeping, and it's the end of you and your children. And then they so politely and gently leave you your cell phone right by your gate for you to come to retrieve it after they robbed your house. I don't know any burglars that do that. If you know those type of burglars, let me know. I don't know any burglars that operate like that. One minute you think they're going to take your life and the next they're like, "Do you want me to bubble wrap your phone for you to protect it? Do you want a protective, screen for your phone? I just want to make sure your phone is in perfect condition so you can call 911 the moment I leave so they can come catch us." I don't know any burglars that is going to come in your house and steal your jewelry and your bags and all your stuff, you know, in the thought of it that they're going to obviously like pawn it off or sell it, but yet they're going to give you $1,000 phone back because iPhones are expensive. They're from 500 to 2 grand. So you're telling me that people who broke into your home for the explicit reason to rob you of your valuables is going to conveniently leave you behind a valuable that you could use to call the police? Doesn't make any sense. I think everything going on between Dorit and PK and this whole PTSD bull crap is Dorit having resentment towards him and guilt toward the situation she put her children in. That's what I think this whole thing is about. That's why I think remember when it came out that they were separating, that he was living in, the Beverly Hills Hilton hotel or whatever hotel he was in, the Beverly Hilton or the Beverly Wilshire, one of the two. And that he was like, they were basically living separate lives. She was doing her. You can clearly see that she does not trust him with the kids. She's like, "You're not here. Where are the kids? I can't do this. He's not around." She says she feels like a single parent. He was spotted not wearing his ring. There was rumors that when he got the DUI, there was a woman in the car with him. So there's cheating allegations. There was cheating allegations with her and Mauricio. Again, that takes a toll because that's not just about Kyle. There's also PK. Granted, he might be a fraudster. He's still a human being. And like I said before, if it's going to hit Kyle some type of way, it's going to hit PK some type of way. No man wants the world thinking that his best friend is sleeping with his wife. Who wants, just like no woman like Kyle wants the world thinking that her best friend is sleeping with her husband. PK also must have felt some type of way too. Again, I don't care how strong your friendship is or how strong your marriage is, that is going to take some type of toll. Doesn't mean you're going to get divorced, doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean it's detrimental, but it does have an effect. The level of effect will obviously vary depending on the strength of your friendship, depending on the strength and security of your marriage. The level of effect will be different, but there will be an effect. That's just human nature. There's no getting around that. Right? So I do think that also played a toll in it. But her whole PTSD storyline is garbage and it is obnoxious. And I agree with PK on this. And she just needs to be honest. PK is broke. This isn't the lifestyle I signed up for. I resent him because this isn't the life I signed up for. I resent him that he made me do things I didn't want to do. I resent him that he put my children in harm's way. And that's why we're separated right now. Be honest. That's the problem with this show. These women actually are going through very real, relatable, based in the human experience things. We're talking about betrayal, not feeling appreciated. We're talking about resentment. We're talking about bitterness. We're talking about guilt. Those are all things that every human being can 100% identify with. But the reason why the show is lacking right now and we're not connecting to it is because they're not showing us any of the realness. They're showing us this fake, weird stuff, talking about people's esophaguses that has nothing to do with anything going on in the world. Why are we talking about Sutton's esophagus when PK and Dorit are separated and so are Kyle and Mauricio? But we're talking about Sutton's esophagus. Come on. Come on. And is nobody going to address the fact that, like, the real bisexual on the show is Garcelle? Like, shout out to Garcelle. Like, yes. She was like, I thought about it, like, why not? But no, we're focusing on Kyle and her fake relationship with Morgan Wade. That's why the show is failing, is because they have juicy things going on, but they're faking the funk. And that's what we can't connect to. Because this day and age, you can't get away with that stuff. Anyway, here we go. Most recently, PK organized a surprise at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel earlier this season for their anniversary. Dorit suffered from anxiety throughout the day as she was unaware of the surprise nor who was looking after their children. The 47-year-old decided to air her grievances with the decision to surprise her at the romantic dinner. I tried to tell you, and you just had a reaction that was very defensive, she admitted before PK interrupted. Does PTSD require you to discuss it there? There isn't a freaking husband in the world that would have taken kindly to what she said when she said it after what I had just done. Do you understand? I felt a little bit of a F you, PK continued. Yeah, because Dorit is punishing you because the life you promised her when she met you, I'll make your dreams come true, baby. I got all this money, baby. We're going to see the world, baby. Or Bubba, whatever they call themselves, isn't what is she's actually living. Like, I don't think she thought she'd be living in a rental in Encino. I don't think she thought they'd be doing these insurance schemes and scams. I don't think she thought that they would be doing bankruptcy. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I don't know. But I feel like she felt a little bit of a bait and switch. Like, you promised me this life. I thought you were this rich married businessman. And now I'm in this life with you. And it turns out, we're not Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. Instead, we're Bonnie and Clyde out here scheming and scamming for every nickel and dime. I think she resents him. And I think there's a bitterness to her for where she's at. Because we don't forget, we also did the whole episode about the signs that they're broke, her hair color and not putting their kids in private school. Because I actually think, because this is the thing, I think that if they could afford private school, Dorit would put her children in private school. But the fact that they can't afford private school, instead of admitting that, Dorit is going to say, I want to homeschool the kids. Because note, on the show, PK said the kids should go to public school. And Dorit's like, no, we have to homeschool them. I think if they could afford private school for their children would be in private school. But because they can't, Dorit doesn't want to put her kids in public school. And that's why she wants to homeschool her kids. I don't think it's because she's so scared about her PTSD and all of that stuff. I think it's because she doesn't want to put her kids in public school. Number one, I think she's worried about how it'll look. And number two, she probably thinks they'll get a better education with homeschooling versus a public school if they can't afford to go to private school. That's the only thing that really makes sense. And PK's just like, look, we can't afford private school. Put them in public school, whatever. I don't want my kids coming out weird because we're homeschooling them. That's not my opinion. I'm saying this is what I think PK thinks. Whether you homeschool your children, I mean, the world we live in today, it might be the safest option with, you know what I mean? I don't want to get too deep into dark topics, but you know, school, you know what that happened all the time. It's a scary place, bullying. So if she kind of had more of that mentality of why she wanted to homeschool the kids, I would buy that more than her whole PTSD from the break-ins. If you were like, I want to protect my kids because this world is crazy and you don't know what's going on in these classrooms and you don't know what people are walking into school with, that I get. But the in home invasion, girl, bye. Girl, bye. So PK goes on to say, Dorit and the therapist attempted to explain the nature of PTSD to PK. However, the English businessman insisted that there were elements I understand and elements that I don't consider are PTSD. I consider they're more obnoxious, he added, noting how she's gotten more high maintenance over the years. And with that, I have to agree with PK on that one. I really, really have to. I have to agree with PK on that one. I do think it's obnoxious. And I think she is bitter about the state of her life and resentful to him. I don't think it has anything to do with PTSD from the alleged robbery. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. And before you do that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to grab our conspiracy teas, which is linked down below. So with that, let's move on to our next story. So this one is all about a theory that Sutton Strack might be to blame for Lisa Rinna's Real Housewives